Lake Expo this week, and we've seen this coming, right? We've discussed this, but FEMA has been entertaining reissuing the flood maps for our area in the state of Missouri. FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and their map revision would actually impact the entire state of Missouri. They recently had a town hall meeting at the end of February, right? This was the Camden County Republican Central Committee. And the chairman, John Beckett, said that FEMA and SEMA declined an invitation to attend. But Stacy Shore, who's really one of the, I would say, advocates for this and educating and raising awareness on this, says that the new maps are revised as presented online, that there would be 10,000 properties in the new floodplain area, and they would be forced to pay for flood insurance. In the issue, they'll never need it. In a lot of instances, they can never afford it. And if you have a mortgage and you can't afford flood insurance, your property could be seized and sold, according to Stacy Shore. Majority of the 10,000 homes can prove that they're not in the 100-year floodplain. And so even though FEMA and SEMA declined to attend this town hall meeting, which has a lot of people up in arms and concerned, they did respond to a Q&A submitted to them and said that these preliminary maps wouldn't really be issued until the late fall of 2025. And they're currently looking at preliminary flood risk data before they update those floodplain maps. But if they did change this, this could be a very dangerous thing, and you could see why a lot of locals are concerned.
No doubt about it, man. A 100-year floodplain is an area that has a 1% chance of being flooded in a year. And it was interesting, the information they put out about this. Typical governmental stuff, it just is kind of all over the board with no, set limits and stuff like that. But former Commissioner Chris Franken said, for new construction standards, lowest grade on your house above ground level had to be 665 feet or higher. What they're proposing does not meet any specific set elevations, Chris Franken said. The test elevations we took based on the line they have drawn for the new 1% annual flood chance area varies from 676 feet of elevation to 700 plus feet of elevation. That's 25 feet difference there, which is crazy, and apparently it's just all over the place.
Just to put that number in perspective, that would be like 20 foot above the driving surface of the Bagnell Dam that you drive over, which is a man-made, manipulated, controlled body of water, which you can project flood or water coming, more rain coming. You can lower it and control the levels. So this is concerning, but the pushback has got questions, and if these preliminary maps come out late fall of 2025, there's typically a 2-year process of community opinion, appeal, question before they would become final, and it looks like our area is already way ahead of FEMA and SEMA, and so good work there. And on top of that, this is not the first time the Lake of the Ozarks and the people that are concerned have joined forces to fight the federal government and FEMA to prevent them from rolling out tough mandates or law that would affect people. And the real problem is this creates a liability and a revenue stream with zero chance of liability or payout. Zero.
Typical governmental stuff. And if you're wondering what this might cost you as far as flood insurance goes, Stacy Shore said for her, in her situation, she said she would be forced to pay an estimated $11,000 annually for flood insurance for her home, $11,000. And then she said the additional cost for flood insurance for a second-tier property, because this would also encompass homes not right on the water that are back in the second tier. She said for them it would be right around $5,700 annually. That's a lot of money for flood insurance. So you might be asking yourself, why would the government want to be doing this? Why is FEMA doing this? And Shore said, she said, FEMA's broke. We know that because they didn't have any money for those flood victims in North Carolina, right?
Sure.
Ran out of money because they were giving it to the migrants, apparently. She said this is a way for them to replenish their coffers. So it's an easy governmental way to throw this basic tax on you for flood insurance, and they can keep that going forever.
Before you go into President Trump's executive order, which will pause this.
To stop it,
it's also worth noting, which we'll go into in coming weeks on Cup of Coffee, what FEMA is actually involved in now when it comes to climate science and what they consider to be a people who would be greater impacted by a natural disaster. And so you can see where this is going and why President Trump might have this executive order to stop a lot of these actions by FEMA.
No doubt. Thank goodness for President Trump, right? It's a typical tax and spend governmental thing that seems like President Trump is trying to do away with. But Commissioner Ike Skelton urged attendees to contact Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe. He gave the phone number 573-751-3222, or send him an email through his online portal just to let him know that we're not happy with this here at the Lake of the Ozarks. This is definitely government overreach just to get more money, basically.
And that matters, right? I mean, the more people that reach out and let their voice be heard, the more attention our elected officials have to give to those type of issues.